The story we are unraveling today dates back to 1971 by lone hijacker, and till date it's still a mystery, and the world's famous FBI still could not trace him in about 45 years. Some say it's a mystery, and to some it's a fake story. Yes, we are talking about the lone hijacker D.B. Cooper in the history of US America. So, what exactly is the incident, and who was D.B. Cooper? Or was it a real if he so existed? Let's now dive into this deep story as it could not be solved in the prolonged 45 years of investigation. But before, if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe and hit the bell icon. It was on this day, 24 November 1971, at around 4 p.m., a young man, tall and carrying a briefcase in his hand, walks into Portland International Airport towards Northwest Airlines ticket counter. He hands some money for one-way ticket to Tacoma International Airport in Seattle for flight number 305. At the ticket counter, he tells his name as Danny Cooper. But as the news spreads, his name appears as DC Cooper in the media, and his name continues in his identity. Friends, I would like to draw your attention that in those days the security checks nor the surveillance system was neither in place, or was there any such threat or such kind of espionages. The passengers were not subjected to any kind of checks like frisking or baggage check. He, along with 36 co-passengers and 6 crew members, were on board the flight, totaling to 43. As the next day being the Thanksgiving Day, and on this day it was a holiday, and the passengers at the airport was less, and also the flight occupancy was low. Cooper occupied last row in the seat number 18E. Soon after settling, he orders for a glass of liquor and some drinks. At around 2:15 p.m., the flight number 305 takes off to Seattle Airport. Moments after takeoff, Cooper takes out a small paper slip and hands it over to the air hostess Florence Knepfner, who was sitting in the jumpsuit just behind him. Ignoring to what it was written in the slip, she keeps it in her purse. Watching this, Cooper whispers to Florence to see what is written in the slip and informs her that I am carrying a bomb in my bag. After saying this, Florence opens the paper and reads it as I have a bomb in the briefcase. It's better you come and sit beside me. So she had no other way, just simply oblige and sit beside him. Soon Cooper opens the briefcase and shows her the inside the briefcase. There were in 2 rows total of 8 dynamites and various types of switches and wires. After showing the briefcase, he closes it and asks her to write down on a piece of paper of all the demands he wanted. Florence then walks to the cockpit with the demand letter and informs the pilot about the Cooper and the bombs in the briefcase. Well, in the demand letter, it was written as ransom amount of $2 lakh and all in small denominations. 2 numbers of front pack parachutes, 2 numbers of backpack parachutes, and all the flight movements should be done according to him, and if any deviation, he would blow it up in the flight. Besides these demands, he instructs the pilot for as the flight reaches Seattle and lands at that time, the fuel tank should be parked at the runway. All the passengers should be seated in the flight. The ransom amount to be brought by the crew members only. Only then all the passengers would be allowed to disembark the flight. In the entire transaction between the flight crew, captain and Cooper, the passengers were not aware that if their flight was being hijacked. Flight captain Williams contacts the air traffic control and the local police along with the FBI and updates them about the hijack of the flight. As all the passengers were unaware of the situation and the airport was near to land, an air hostess makes an emergency announcement that due to some technical snag, the flight could be delayed for landing. By doing so, the passengers would not be panicking. As soon as the news reaches the FBI police, all gear up to handle the crisis. In the process, it gets delayed and do not have any clue to solve the crisis. In the process of meeting all the demands, it consumes a lot of time and the flight, but to buy some time, the aircraft flies in the air for another 2 hours. Some passengers get annoyed by this delay and suspect some foul with Cooper and ask him a lot of questions, but Cooper keeps calm and requests them to sit calm and quiet. It took lots of time for the FBI and the local police to accumulate the low denomination fats from various banks and along with the four parachutes. The information is passed through air traffic control to the pilot that all the demands of the Cooper are met and are ready to be handed over. After thorough confirmation, DB Cooper asked the pilot to land at a different runway rather than the usual main terminal. Finally, at 5:45 p.m., the flight lands at Seattle Airport. Here, DB Cooper restricts the police and the FBI to allow only one person to deliver the material from the rear door. To get the money he demanded and the parachute, it was very difficult as the fats were more and weighing about 10 kgs. He checks all the bags for the money and the parachutes and later asks the captain to allow passengers to disembark one by one. At this moment, flight crew feel some relief and they also think that they will also be getting down but ask all the crew members to not to leave the flight, instead ask the captain to fly to a new destination with new guidelines. The first being the flight to be flown at 185 kilometers per hour, maintain an altitude of 10,000 feet, keep the landing gear open, side wings flaps to be at 15 degrees. Flight cabin should be unpressurized. Despite all these demands, which were of amusing to the captain obliges all his conditions as there was no option. Well, during the passengers disembarking, the refueling was done, and after that, the flight takes off to an undisclosed destination. At around 7:40 p.m., immediately after the flight takeoff, two US fighter planes F-106 were called and were scrambled. The two fighter planes were one above and the other below the hijack plane so that no one from inside would notice. Now DB Cooper asked the crew to go into the cockpit and starts packing up the money around his body and with the parachutes. He jumps out the plane. The crew were not aware what the hijacker was doing and that was the last time they have seen him. The crew members noticed an emergency alarm indicating that the rear staircase was opened. Reacting to the emergency alarm, one of the crew members through the intercom announced if he needed any assistance. In reply, he says no, and that was the last word from him. At around 8:13 p.m., the crew noticed a big sound and jerk, and there was a turbulence. Somehow, pilot controls the flight. For few moments, the flight flies, and the pilot decides to land the plane at Reno Airport. But it was difficult as the rear door was opened and not possible to land. However, the pilot decides to land the plane at around 11 p.m. successfully. Although the plane landed, none from the airport dared to approach the plane, suspecting the hijacker would be inside or there could be a live bomb inside. After some time, the FBI and local police approached the aircraft and tried to contact DB Cooper through flight intercom, but no response. After a few moments, the captain himself goes from the cockpit and sees no response. Now they realize that DB Cooper might have jumped off the flight in the journey. Soon the local police press into service the bomb squad and sanitize the plane in around 30 minutes. The aircraft, the passengers, the crew was saved, but a lot of questions rise. Who was DB Cooper? How does he look from? Where is he from? All these questions can be answered only if one has his identity. How he looks. FBI sleuths try to get the details from two hostesses who DB Cooper interacted and finally get the sketch of DB Cooper. Immediately, the search operation starts with collecting the forensic samples from the flight. In the initial investigation, the FBI make out that the name was fake. The ransom amount which was given to the hijacker starts tracking the serial numbers of the notes. But even after a long time, the FBI were not able to get an inkling about it. The police also makes a massive search in the surrounding areas where the crew of the flight noticed the sound and jerk in the plane. It was assumed that due to the extreme weather condition, DB Cooper could have died in the midair. So they try to find out the body of DB Cooper. The search continues months together in the forests, rivers, and plains, but all the search goes in vain. Police arrest lots of suspects and interrogate, but all in fail. This way, the police investigate for years together, from 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, but no trace of D.B. Cooper. One day, a boy stumbles upon three fats of notes on the shore of a river, and in the investigation, it was found that the three bundles were from the ransom money. The serial numbers matched. After this, the incident, police pressed their search operation, but not to get any further. It is believed that during the jump from the flight during the night, D.B. Cooper might have fallen into the river, which would have led him to his death, and the bundles could have drifted with the flow of river water. Despite years and intense search operation, the FBI sleuths could not trace either D.B. Cooper nor the ransom money till 45 years. And at last, in the year 2016, the case was closed once and for all. It was one of the cases where FBI agency could not solve. Some in the media feel that someone from the airport staff could have done this act, carefully and smartly creating a fake name of D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper becomes a mysterious man. Friends, do send me your opinion about this mysterious man or a fake man in the comment section. Thank you for patiently listening to this mysterious story, and if you liked, do share with your friends and families and hit the bell icon